Alderman Stevens.
Here.
Alderman Rogers.
Present.
Alderman Magley.
Yeah.
Alderman Wilkins.
Present.
Alderman Hudson.
Here.
Alderman Motley.
Okay. Do you please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, before we get to comments from citizens, I was asked just to bring up a point of, what's the word I'm looking for?
Point of procedure, really.
Point of procedure, that works. That once we are done with comments from citizens, when we move into the business portion of the meeting, there are not comments from the audience without permission. With that being said, we'll move to comments from citizens. If anybody has any comments, please stand up, state your name and address.
Linda Borman, 800 Jason Court. Phil, I just want to ask if you guys are going to spray the alleys and stuff. I know you have to wait till after this rain probably, but the alleys and around the light poles and stuff on the outsides of the city park or over on our side of the street, all around them is really grassy. I know it's bad around our building. I've sprayed. Every time I do it rains, or either that or my weed killer's not any good anymore, but we really need to have that done again if at all possible.
Yeah, as soon as it gets dry enough, we can.
Because we got the car show coming up here in a couple of weeks, and it would be nice if the alleys looked better and whatnot. There was something else I was gonna say, but now I don't remember, but I got a couple more chances, so.
I'm Lucille Essman, and I live at 802 South Jefferson Street, and I'm here to talk about the big item pickup that you all had in April. I think it's nice that you think of the senior citizens, but you have to carry it through. I'll tell you my story. I came by City Hall, and I signed up, gave them my name, my phone number, my address, and I told them it was an old treadmill, and it was heavy. And I said, they'll come in my house to get it. He said, that's fine, we'll take care of it. So I stayed home Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Nobody called. So the next Monday, as I was coming into town, I stopped at City Hall. Mayor Cox was coming out. I told him I'm going here to complain. He said, what for? I told him, he said, if you have any trouble, let me know. So I'm letting you know. So I went in and I told the girls again, I said they didn't pick it up. And they said, well, they probably didn't have time last week. So she said, they'll be there, they'll come in your house and they'll pick it up. And I said, okay. So next weekend I stay home Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And I know y'all are thinking, well, that old woman, she's got anything else to do anyway, but sit home and wait. But anyway, my treadmill is still sitting in my house. I think it's nice that y'all do this, but I think the least you could do is, if you're not gonna pick the stuff up the first weekend for the senior citizens, then call them and let them know they don't have to stay home that weekend, that they'll come and pick it up the next weekend.
I would like to address that. It's not the city that comes and picks it up. It's volunteers from Kiwanis.
Well,
And
whoever
we just
did it,
we just send the information to them, so we don't
Okay.
have any control over when they come or if they come, but we can definitely pass that information along.
okay,
Well, what address is it again?
802 South Jefferson.
Okay, 802 South Jefferson. I've got to leave for Kansas City tonight, but I'll be back by Thursday,
We'll get it.
and we'll come get your, we'll get her out of there.
Where you going after the meeting?
It's not in my way. It's.
You wanna use it?
It's broke. It won't,
hang clothes on.
it's broke. It won't work anymore. But like I said, it's not in my way. But it's just
No.
the idea
Yeah,
of it, and
well, I've learned something too. I didn't know exactly how that worked. I know that we have spring cleanup and all these things, right? And I haven't gotten down to the finite details of it. So what she's telling me is that there's civic organizations that are wanting to help with those kind of things for seniors or people that,
yeah.
and we always want to provide that service with through Ministerial Alliance or other service groups, right, that organizations. So we'll get it
We'll get it
Donnie and I'll come get it from you.
Thursday.
Thursday.
And we'll give it to Landon. You ain't giving it to me, I'm bringing it to my house. I'll throw it through your front window at Rogers Rental.
Okay,
I bet you I can.
This
is really
Thank you for bringing that up. I think several of us may have learned something new this evening.
well, I
didn't know
knew
myself
that,
with
I knew they told me when I went there the second time that it was turned over to Mr. So-and-so, they said, told me who it was,
Right.
and, you know, they said they'll get with you this weekend, but like I say, you know,
Be
you know.
nice to schedule it, that way you know when to be there.
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, but I don't mind, you know, for one weekend staying home, but when you sit there for 2 weekends and nobody calls and nobody shows up, I mean, it didn't bother me because I wasn't going anywhere anyway. But I
Oh, but you
mean,
might have been.
but I mean, in future cases, in other words, you know, if they would let you know which weekend, if they turn that paper over to these people, and then if these people would contact and tell the senior citizens what, you know, that they're coming this weekend.
Well, we can bring that up and say, hey, this came up, how can we do this better? What did we learn from this, right?
Sure.
So we'll do that.
I'm
And I think that's the thing
I'm
for
not
that.
really, I'm not complaining, but I just want you to let you know what happened to me.
Right. Good, thank you so much.
We appreciate you sharing that with us.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Any other comments from citizens?
Don't tell me you have a treadmill.
Does he look like he has a treadmill?
I'm John Borman at 101 West Singleton Street. Get all flustered up here. Anyway, I see that there is an item on the agenda that says a signed transfer of ownership of North Hickman Street to the city of Centralia. I was on both city board of aldermen and the city planning and zoning when that area was annexed and when it was discussed. North Hickman Street was brought into the city, was annexed to the city. However, the street was specifically excluded from the city taking it over because of the poor repair of that, what's supposed to be a county road up there. And it was in such poor repair that the city refused to accept that as a city street. So the fact that the county, or the road district is now signing that over to the city does not obligate you guys to accept that for maintenance. Somebody needs to bring that up to standards before that happens. And that's why that was done at that point, and why it was specifically accepted, that the street would not be accepted by the city. So, I just want to point that out.
How long ago was that, Don?
Oh,
A few years ago or something?
probably, no, it was towards the end of Lynn's term, because Lynn and I discussed it. I mean, that's probably, what, 6, 7 years ago?
A few years ago, yeah, okay, got it. Just didn't know.
But in all that time, this has not been accepted by the city, you know, for maintenance purposes or anything. And, I mean, Lynn's well aware of that because, you know, he and I discussed it when that was brought in as to what we wanted to do with that street. And we didn't want to obligate the city to have to build a street there. And that's what, if the city accepts this and if, then it wants to be used for that new development, and, you know, the city is willing, the city will take on the obligation of building that street to city standards. And that was what specifically we did not want to do. Somebody up there, one of the landowners, whoever is doing the development, they're the ones that need to be responsible for that. It is a county right-of-way, was dedicated, well, I don't know that it was dedicated, but it was surveyed and shown as a county road about 100 years ago, a little over 100 years ago. But, you know, it's never been a very good street. It's always been more of a driveway than anything else. All right, thank you.
Appreciate it. Any other comments from citizens? Seeing none, we'll move on. Right here, so the street department activity reports in the packet. Bill, anything you want to point out?
We did a lot of drainage work, put in a lot of driveway culverts, replaced and new, cleaned lots of ditches. Borrowed the sewer machine from the water department and did a lot of flushing. Had our annual spring cleanup, about 24 dumpsters, I think, full. Pretty decent cleanup. That's probably most of it right there. Started doing some of our street patching, get some of our street cuts get caught up on those.
Okay. Anything specific for streets? Sanitation, stormwater, anything
No.
specific? Okay, that brings us to the signed transfer of ownership of North Hickman to the city council. Anybody looked at the road?
The problem that I have seen with this from the very beginning is that this has no description of what we're taking over. It doesn't say from this point to this point. Their records were very vague. They had very unclear records to begin with. So I think it's all very gray area
And
as to what we're actually taking over.
according to the survey that was done, it goes all the way to the section line, which
Okay.
is, and the road, I mean, there's no road up in the north part of that at all.
I mean, part of the problem with that street, it's an old mixed street. I don't even think it's even close to wide enough.
Well, it doesn't have ditches on
Yeah,
the
I
good
mean,
portion
it's-
of it, it's not wide enough.
If the development was done there, we'd have to do a lot of work to it. We'd take it over.
We, if it's unclear, do we go around to push back or not accept? Or?
Yeah, we have to, I mean, we don't have to accept this if we're not willing to,
Do we need to do some more research before we answer?
probably.
I would say if it's not up to specs, we shouldn't take it in. I make a motion, we don't accept it.
We have a motion.
Second.
We have a second to not accept the transfer from the Special Road District of Boone County. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So it sounds like the motion carries that we will not accept it. And sounds, based on the motion, if it's up to code, then
We think about it.
consider.
We'll get with
Okay.
Sydney to, send a notice. Okay.
Okay. We'll move on, Phil, anything else?
No.
Okay. Move on to the water department, the activity reports in the packet, Matt?
I would say biggest thing on here on the water side, we got the northeast tower drained and cleaned, which is what we've kind of been fighting for a while, and the valves that we put in there at the end of January, February, whenever that was, they worked how they were supposed to work. So it allowed them to clean the water tower and get that cleaned up, so.
What are the pictures in the packet of?
Those are just some of the water plant headwork upgrades that they've got installed so far. We're looking at probably another 3 to 4 weeks, and they're supposed to be doing some startup, getting back online through the water plant, so. That's weather, everything, going how it needs to.
Thought I read somewhere that we're still on track for the June, beginning of
June
June.
4th, I believe, was the date they're supposed to be done. Did they do the startup or the
Generator?
generator?
No,
Okay.
no.
Anything for sewer?
No, just normal maintenance stuff. A little bit of jetting and helping some customers out with some stuff that we tried to help them with. And other than that, it's all been going Normal.
Under other, we have the Bartlett and West monthly report. Anything you want to point out in there? Anyone?
They're mainly just going along and checking to see what's been done with the contractor that's putting everything in. Like Matt said, they're proceeding along pretty good. We should be getting to that point pretty quick. Got a few items that were in discussion with Bartlett and Martin that got the contract due on getting a few things straightened out like we want them. Some of the areas I believe were a little bit of engineering overkill plus how we want it to look in the end, and I think we're gonna get that, so.
Are we do all the tough parts?
You get the clarifiers in, and
Yeah.
I was gone, so.
Everything now should be easy sailing. Knock on
Yeah.
wood. Since I said, I shouldn't have said that, should
The
I?
fine tuning can always be a challenge.
Yeah, I feel like the big parts were easy to go in, and I think the little bitty parts and pieces that they'll finish up, it'll be a drag, but
So going better than what you thought it'd go?
no comment.
Last time you did this, you don't remember, do you?
No, it is, it's
It's
just,
going pretty smooth, isn't it?
a lot of different communication from contractor to engineering to us, and then it just a lot of nonsense in my book, but I'm sure it's like that everywhere.
They gotta dot their i's and cross their t's, especially with the DNR involved.
Yeah, they just speak different lingo than I do.
Okay, so let's see, it brings us down to E, other, which is a water department service truck upgrade.
We got bids and, like I said, I was off last week. Matt went ahead and picked, one up from Forest that they sent through, so I'll let him take it from there on that.
Yeah, from, well, whatever, Butler, Forest, whatever it is. So there's two different bids, obviously, one from Butler, one from Don Brown. The service bed is different on each. Don Brown, they spec a different utility bed. So virtually same thing, just different name brand on the side of the truck, so. Bids came in fairly close to each other. On the Don Brown bid, we were kind of looking for the Riker's body, had a little bit of a better option. We thought would be good for us it's a locking toolbox, basically. It has, let's see, there's 3 to 6, probably 8 compartments, and it has a kind of remote locking mechanism on it, so if we're at a job site or leave the job for lunch, we can lock the truck up. That is not on the total of the Don Brown bid. I think it's like a $900 option. It's not on the actual total price. So, and the Napahide bed did not have that capability. But other than that, it is a pretty straightforward, just two of the same trucks, basically 2 of the same beds. It's just a matter of who we're gonna go with, so.
So if we had $900 with the Don Brown quote,
It's about $559 less still.
yeah, I was gonna say 600 just for conversation. So the Don Brown's cheaper. Now, our capital, we had 40,000 in the budget. And there was 10,000 for, equipment replacement. Is that something other than any of this? Or is that?
That would have been other.
Yeah, it's at one of the water plants, the other equipment replacement, but, so it would be over budget, but the water fund is healthy enough that it could absorb that extra cost.
Costs us about $6,000 more, so you prefer the Don Brown, which is the cheapest one too?
Well, yeah, and it just, the only reason specifically is the locking of the toolbox. Not that it's a major deal, but it would be nice, like for times right now where our shop is completely overran with equipment for the water plant upgrade, we could park that outside.
Is it,
is the toolbox on there, it just doesn't lock, or does it have to be, the toolbox has to be added into the?
No, it's got the compartments, it's a
But it's
locking.
just not, but it don't come lockable at that point?
It does with a key.
Mhm.
So you would go by each compartment, lock it with a key to lock up.
Okay,
This is basically a fob that would hit a button and lock. So, not a really breaking
It's got an
point.
extra bell and whistle essentially.
Yeah.
The other one locks also. But and then the lowest price is, brand. $600 versus the Don brand. No. They're St. Louis versus, yeah, Butler's 600 more, and doesn't have quite all the bells and whistles, or at least the remote locking feature.
Yeah, and if you don't add the locking on the Don Brown, it puts you at $1,500 cheaper than Jim Butler. So, we don't have to add the locking. That was just one of the things that we thought was needed for.
So we have to make the decision at the board meeting.
A little time to think about it
A little
as
bit.
we work through our meetings. Okay. So more of an apples to apples comparison. Don Brown's about $1,500 cheaper.
Correct. You add the locking and it puts you about $559.
Okay.
But
You got anything?
either way, it is what it is. It's a truck.
You got anything else?
Nope.
No? Okay, we'll move on to the electric, the activity reports on page 69 of the packet. Matt, you got anything for us that you want to point out?
I would say our biggest things that we accomplished back in April were the water department, pole change out, new banks, doing all that. And then we got to get a new service, definitely upgraded the wire on well 4, and then had to replace the bank at well 3. And I don't know, with 3 guys, I feel like we did a pretty darn good job of getting that stuff knocked out and doing it in a halfway decent time frame. Had to change all the metering on the water plant, so that was definitely a good learning experience for everybody to get up and do something we haven't done before. So other than that, I mean, day-to-day stuff, a lot of new services, new temporaries. Put some bat boxes up for a guy for an Eagle Scout project. I thought that was pretty cool.
Saw that, that was neat.
So that was, other than that, just kind of day-to-day stuff.
Well, you set the timers on the school zone lights, and that was something we talked about a couple months ago, so it's good to
Yep,
see that.
we got those up, and then we got the rest of those dug in last week, and now we're just waiting on our rest of the school zone lights to come in. We got the timers today, but lights aren't in yet, so they're hoping to be next week or 2 weeks from now.
They've done a good job keeping busy and staying with it.
No doubt I'm being busy. Anything for generation and purchase, distribution, other? Okay. Move on to Public Works and Utility Director report, Mike?
Mainly just working with the engineers, a lot of questions coming up back and forth between the contractor and engineers on what we actually want, and just trying to make sure that we're in on the conversation. And I want them to end up with the product they want, so Matt and I have been working with them quite a bit on that. System Matt worked good, just trying to keep up with everything's going on. I was going on vacation, so I'm planning on catch up tonight, so. Everybody's been doing a good job, everybody's staying busy. I think Phil's department's breaking up now and we're covering a lot of ground. The rest of the guys are doing great, so really pleased with how things are going.
Any as may arise?
I have one thing, somebody sent me an email picture of the service behind their house, overall Central, where the one house got torn down, so bad at the end, Central, Holt, and then went across the street. Right in that backyard, I guess there was some service or something. I thought it was a park, and I was wondering what park. I was freaked out because he mentioned the park and the service, and I thought it was in the park, but no, it was in behind there. something was done, trenched in, redone or something, and there's a huge gaping hole that's probably settled or didn't get filled or something, I wanna bring it to attention.
Right, it's right there at Randall's house, the new house where that, when they were putting the fence in, when they put the fence in, they got it filled.
On that, yeah, you on that side. Yeah, she might want to check on that, but I had an email wrong, I thought that you guys would probably should listen to, but so anyway, thank you.
Is National Public Works Week. So we are, for in celebration of National Public Works Week, the ladies in the office have organized a Touch a Truck event with Boone County restrictions being lifted. Last week we were able, we've still just invited one class at a time from Chance Elementary, one grade at a time, to come up, and we'll have the street blocked off on Thursday, weather permitting, of course. We'll have, everybody will be bringing equipment, we'll have representatives there, they each have a goodie bag that Stan was prepared for them, so just to celebrate National Public Works Week.
Nice.
And then Phil will be at the Head Start tomorrow.
Yeah.
They'll have
We're sending, and one of the guys gonna take backhoe out there, they're doing a little touch a truck out there this week.
yeah, they usually do that every year, and maybe they didn't do it last year.
Yeah, I don't think they did
So,
last year.
probably, but, so,
Make sure you thank your crews for everything they do for our city, and it is appreciated, everyone. Okay,
I make a motion, we adjourn.
second.
got a first and second to adjourn, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? We are adjourned.
Anyone need a break?
No, I need to make.
I'm sorry?
Yeah, make a note real quick.
Okay.
Hey Siri, set reminder for Thursday at 2:00 to get Landon's treadmill.
Thursday morning.
At 9 o'clock?
Did you guys say 9 o'clock Thursday morning you're coming after her treadmill?
He said 2 a.m.
He said two.
Well, she'd be glad to get up at that time to get rid of it.
It'll be in the afternoon.
Oh, okay, I thought you said 9, I'm sorry.
So that's all I had. I made about.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have 7
Gotta
p.m.
bring
by
some
public
strong
meeting of the
men.
General Government Public Safety Committee to order. I know attendance has been taken. Any comments from citizens? Hearing none, moving on to Public Safety, Police Department. The activity reports in your packet. Bob, is there anything you want to point out?
Not necessarily about that report, no. I'll cover it around.
Under your monthly.
Yes.
Okay. Anyone have any questions or comments on the activity report? And now moving on to the Chief's monthly report.
I'll mention that.
Exactly. It happens to be the next thing in the agenda.
We did complete firearm simulation training last week. And 9 of my 11 guys went through, which talking to the Merrill guy, he says is not unusual. He said, you usually don't get 100% participation. And but it was good training. It was good stuff. And I don't believe that it was for naught, because the fact is there's a lot of guys that had a lot of questions. And the guy actually, Jeff, I believe his name is that right? The trainer, actually very knowledgeable, and had a lot of good feedback for the guys. It was really good stuff. So, like I said, that's a once a year thing. He just says he's required to bring it up at least once a year, so. Well, radar trailer, that's another story. I'll get back there, come back to that in just a minute. We've had 130 or 140, I can't remember what the number is now, UTV golf cart permits issued, which is a lot. It's kind of strange. I had a lot in 2019, and some forgot it in 2020, and now 2021, they all remembered it. So, we've only been issuing since about the 10th of April, so the fact is we've done a lot of them. The officers are getting out and around. As you can see on the activity report for Officer Davenport, he did a firearm safety class. He actually did 3 of them for Mrs. Angel's life safety life skills class, back on the 22nd, 26th. Evidently, this is something he does every year, but you all didn't know about it because I didn't know about it, but I do now. And we've been really busy, but Lieutenant Cruz and I spent the better part of 3 days putting the closed circuit TV cameras here in City Hall. So you're covered pretty well. We actually started on the police department today. And there's actually places in this City Hall that I've now seen that I didn't know existed. There's all those places you would believe. It's pretty impressive, but like I said, you can see how old this building really is. But like I said, outside's covered pretty well now. City council chambers, obviously. So like I said, the monitor's actually in Heather's office. If you're curious, walk back there and look at the picture because it's pretty impressive. And then, let's see. Okay, radar trailer is still going well. We had a little operator error last week. As far as the settings on it, it's sitting out in Lakeview, and it's still sitting in Lakeview because I kind of somehow fat fingered a number, and it was flashing at 25 and the speed limit is 30, so I had to kind of fix that. So I fixed that. We're gonna let it run another week, see what happens, see what our numbers come out of there. So, but I've been giving you the information a little bit here and there, and I did get to. I think I got the last report to you all, and I think I got one. I still owe you all one. But what was the last one? Miles, wasn't it? Is that the last one I sent you all? Had a high speed, I think, of 53. But the thing that really impressed me was like there was 83 or 84% of the people that were at or below the speed limit, which is pretty good. A lot better than Garo Chance. So that's what I'm sure. So, the guys have been out and around. They've done a lot of traffic enforcement lately, and stopped a lot of people. And it's some of those targeted areas that we've talked about. Be it Miles, Lakeview, Garo Chance, any of those. So they've done some targeted stuff, and it's actually worked out for us. So the good thing about that radar trailer, it gives you kind of a time, best time for enforcement kind of thing, is actually pretty much spot on. So it's really pretty cool. I actually attended the Missouri Police Chiefs Association conference week before last. Was it week before last? I think that's right. But a lot of great classes and a lot of great speakers. And so like I said, but police department, I'm kind of like Mike. I was playing catch up for about 3 days after I got back, and these guys have been busy, and the weekends haven't slowed down at all. So there you go.
Seeing anything on the game cam recycling yet?
Not really. About 5,000 pictures. It completely drained the battery in the game cam. I don't know if it was trash blowing by, but there for a couple of days, there were dumpsters sitting out there.
Yeah, they put the dumpsters a little close.
Yeah.
We gotta move.
Well, and I know that, but, it gave you an overflow, I don't know, but I know you still had to take care of it, so.
Yeah.
And actually, those dumpsters were out there at the same time the game camera was there, so not a real good.
Right. Good.
Yeah, so.
I got a question, Bob, for you.
Yes, sir.
I know that when we were talking to Merlin and all that about insurance and all those kind of things, programs that we could tap into, I see you've got on here that you contacted Merlin and enrolled the officers in training. Was that Merlin training that you were able to tap into there?
Okay, so currently, Merlin is contracted with a company, I can't remember the name of it right off the top of my head.
Sure.
But as of July 1, they're actually contracting with a new company,
Okay.
Virtual Academy. So yeah, that was provided by Merlin.
Since you've got that, it sounds like you've got that range.
And, right, I've got it arranged, they've got, everybody's got 4 classes that they have to complete by the end of June, which includes officer liability, Fourth Amendment. Fourth Amendment search procedure is one class, but racial profiling is one other one. And most of the guys are well on their way to completing those. When I was talking to Mr. Arp the other day, the Centralia Police Department is required to complete, as a whole, about 110 tests a year, which is on a different subject, whatever it happens to be. He doesn't care. It's kind of weird if one guy does 40 of them, but as long as they complete 110 tests a year, we're all good. We don't get a debit against us for that. So, but these 4 tests, these 4 classes are required for everyone. And if you don't complete those, that is a debit against you. So,
Well, I know that you've been getting involved in that,
Yeah.
specifically looking at the training towards strengthening weaknesses, those kind of things, and differences in people, right? So
right.
that's why I brought that up. I
And
know
a lot
you've been
of these
addressing
things are general stuff, like the Fourth Amendment search and seizure stuff. And it's good stuff. I mean, the training, actually, I've done all the 4 that they required because I wanted to see what they were like. I hadn't taken those classes before. And it's actually good stuff. I don't know what the virtual academy will be, but I'm sure with Myrna, they're pretty specific about what they want and everything else, so I'm sure it'll be good stuff.
I just wanted to draw it out that you were doing that.
Yeah, we've got that going on. I mean, like I said, I gave Heather a training calendar for the year, and it averaged out to about 70 hours for officers per. And we're only required 24 by state, so that's about what it is.
Good job, yeah.
Any other for the police department? Moving on to fire department. Activity reports in the packet. Dave, is there anything you want to point out?
No, it's a typical Centralia, medical calls and fires. I do have before we get into some other things, a young man wants to get on the fire department, which it'd be a good asset for the town, so I'll turn that back over to Heather, and I guess you're on which one. The rest of the stuff, that we've been getting the numbers on the air packs and stuff like that. And I think we're gonna come out way better than we started out. Because our, I don't know, can you all see them? Do you all have the quotes in front of you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The total's about 144, 145, and our budget was like 170.
180, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was
But
172, I think, is what we had in the budget.
we don't think we're gonna have to have the compressor that makes the cascade system go. I talked to the guys that take care of that, which is Midwest Breathing and Air. They think they can bump it up our machine up, and they're the ones that maintain it anyway. So they think they can bump it up and make it work, so I think we can get back. If you see the one at Field Fire, they're the ones that supply the air packs. The Midwest Breathing and Air take care of the machine that fills the air pack, so if you get confused with what you're looking at. But let's start out with the machine that fills them. What we send them in now is probably a schedule 40 or 80 steel pipe, which is, them things are like a missile that they go off. And we're doing something we're probably not supposed to be doing. So we got to talking to this guy while he was there, and they offer a fill station which encloses them bottles and lets you fill them and do all that stuff. So the field fire come up, and you'll see that quote. That quote is what? Yeah, like $20,000.
2781.
Yeah, but I went and called the Midwest Breathing and Air, and like I said, he takes care of it now. So he can put us we have there's 5 big cylinder bottles along with the machine sitting there. So this guy can redo it all, new bottles which need to be updated, and he can also get us I think it's a used fill station. You'll see about 1/3 from the bottom. So we could get into fixing that part for like $10,186. So I think, I mean, if that's, we ought to, if we're gonna get a, you know, the fuel station, do it correctly, we need to.
And that'll do it for you, to be safe.
I would, yeah, I would go with the guys that take care of the compressor anyway.
You gotta get that certified after you do this from
They
somebody?
hydro test them bottles every so often, is what, every so many years they have to be hydro tested and stuff like that. And I think the ones we got now are, they look like just big old, you know, they're big, 4 foot, like oxygen bottles for welding and stuff like that, that's what it looks like. So I mean, that would probably be the smarter way to go of all that. And then to go to the air pack system now, that's $113,000. And that's getting us 12 complete packs. We'll end up with 24 bottles. And then the new face piece that go on them. And then the bottom part, you're gonna see, which is probably, I don't know, 5,000, the last paragraph down there before the 25. That's what they call a RIP pack. And they keep them things, say for instance, if you had to go deep inside, chance company and somebody, a fireman or something fell over, that bottle is sitting there with all the special stuff to go, another fireman would take that in there, with a couple firemen would take that in there and go get him out and stuff like that. All the stuff it takes to get somebody out of a bad situation is what it amounts to. So we've never, you know, we probably should have had this stuff a long time ago, but we've never messed with it. But like I said, then you'll see this thing has the bottles, the regulators. These are 30-year warranty bottles and stuff. That'll do it for me. I won't have to worry about it.
That covers the pack and all, doesn't it?
That's everything.
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 The bottles and the pack.
Batteries.
Yeah, everything but
Everything but the batteries that go on the pack.
Yeah.
Do those have built-in pass alarms on them?
Have what?
The built-in pass alarm on them?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I was just curious. The reason I asked that is because Myrma actually pays for pass alarms. They'll do it at grant program. So.
No, this is, have they got the lights on them now and this and that?
Yeah. Heads up display the whole way.
Yeah, they've been way updated since the last I've seen this. And then we're looking at face pieces. They come out with a C5 face piece, which is gives you a whole lot better vision to look out of and stuff like that. But I don't think, are they ready yet? I don't think they're quite ready till September, were they?
The ones with the camera.
Yeah, and then you'll see, I don't know if we need 6, we just put that in there. But they have a face piece that has a built-in camera.
Thermal imaging camera.
Is that what those 6 are there?
Yeah.
Okay, with sight?
Yeah, I mean, we're still talking about how many do we actually need. We still have a thermal imaging camera we pack in our hands, and it don't take the place of one of them, but it does, after showing us and stuff, this guy, the front guy on the hose line going in a trailer or house instantly, he can pretty well look down in his eye and see exactly what's going on, you know, if there's somebody in there, if there's somebody laying down, where the fire is actually at, instead of full of smoke spraying over here. So it's a new innovation they're coming out with stuff, and it's, you know, we thought about getting a few of them that way. First team in, one guy might have it, the next team in, somebody on that team have one, and so forth.
It would allow you to do a lot more than without having that, right? You wouldn't put yourself in that danger if you didn't have that, or would you?
Right, yeah, if you're scanning the room, you're not doing a blind sweep.
You can assess much better.
Yeah, you're not just walking in now and you're going to a trailer full of smoke, you're just starting to spray water, you have no clue where the fire's at until you get some stuff knocked down. But one of these things,
Immediately know it's
you can immediately see the red fire and stuff like that in there. I mean, it's just new, I mean, everything's innovative nowadays, so. But it would be something to save a lot of things, time and searching and stuff like that.
And every minute you save could have an impact on somebody's life.
Like I said, we just we put 6 in there, but I don't know if we need 6 or we're still kind of. I don't.
Dad, listen to that boy. Listen to him.
They'll come back with you, they don't wanna pay for it.
Like I said,
He's got a salesman.
I don't like wasting money.
You're not wasting it, you're just talking about saving somebody's life with it.
I don't think it's.
But we also have the.
I think if we might as well get 6 of them. Yeah, we got it budgeted, we might as well get the 6.
We're under budget and we buying 6 of those and under budget, I think.
And like I said, everything's guaranteed for 30 years out.
Wow.
30
So
years.
which of these
So
do
when
we
Matt's-
add together?
Huh?
Which, so the Feld Fire quote, the 113,
I would look at that one and then the Midwest Air.
so those 2 together?
It'll be 123, 124,000.
Yeah, and our budget's 172 right now.
Yeah.
123.6 or something like that.
Yeah.
Saving $48,000?
Let him go towards
You
paying
done
on the
good
truck,
enough, you can
Dan.
get the,
Good
you need the
job.
lights and the sight.
What are we getting for free?
T-shirt.
Anyhow, we on fire trucks, I mean, we're good for how many years on fire trucks? Quite a few, 5, 6,
2 or 3.
before we have to do something.
We really need to look into doing something.
Now?
I was talking to Demi today about
Don't they have,
something, are you interested? I was talking to Demi today about something that's coming up for sale in Columbia.
Here, yeah, don't write that down, Jane. Columbia goes and rotates trucks, they're big, they can rotate through trucks left and right. They're gonna have, we talked to Jerry Jenkins, comes up here all the time with us, and he tells us on Christmas morning, he's one of the chiefs for Columbia Fire Department. And he said that they'll probably in a couple of years rotate out another, what they call a quint. And that would be something we ought to look into, buying a used one instead of spending $1 million, you know, we might be able to get something in the 150 range or something like that, you know.
So 2 years from now, we need to look at that. So we're good for 2 years and we can focus on this.
You hope you're good for 2 years.
Yeah, I mean,
What you're feeling, yeah,
we got 30-year-old trucks, you know, that's just the way it is, so I
we can go 32, huh?
mean, we try, I mean, they're maintaining, everything's up and stuff right now, so I mean, but,
So we need to make sure we're saving money for fire.
Well, we just said, we
just
just
saved 40-some
Well, we
thousand.
got
Yeah.
a
We're
quint,
saving some odd
a
thousand
quint will help
dollars.
us out.
Well, we got a regular meeting coming up tonight, so we may,
But a quint would be something, I don't know if y'all know what it is, it's a truck that has that'll go about 75 feet up in the air. I think that's what Columbus is, it'll go 75 feet up in the air. We've had some fires, and we've called the electric department and got a bucket truck out, stuck a hose on it and raised it up in the air, and that's probably not what you should do.
we need to start doing.
You know, I mean, we're gonna do, you know, we got a lot of 2-story houses in town, we got some.
Well, and the buildings downtown, to get on top of it, you need that ladder. I mean, what's your height they can start max now? I mean, you don't have any.
Got a ladder.
I think just a ladder, right?
Yeah.
So you have no building to build.
We have no way to get it.
We need to look at all this stuff.
It's a pumper as
Safety
well,
for
right?
you guys.
It's a pumper.
Yeah,
as well.
pumps the water.
Yeah, it's a pumper.
Will it fit in the station?
Will it fit in the station you got now?
Yeah, I think so.
You have to measure.
Now, a
It
little add-on
allows for
to
an
that.
outrange stream that has a basket on the end of it, okay? You firefighters in, elevated stream, I think there's a 750 gallon tank on it, I believe.
Yeah, it's just a nozzle.
By the way, I used to be a firefighter, did you know that?
It's just a nozzle.
But, so the fact is I'm with Denny, the fact is with Chance and all these different places, an elevated stream right now, they have to call from Columbia or
We
somebody.
had to call the Columbia or have Matt bring it.
Or the electric truck.
Or the electric truck, yeah.
Well,
So,
And it's,
so
reliability
it's,
issue.
it's one of those things that you
it's not
probably
safe.
look at.
I don't want somebody getting hurt, filling bottles where,
We did twice like a week and a half.
Yeah. I was there. on the second one.
I appreciate your all's improvisation, but
So Denny, you think the Midwest Breathing Air will be safe filling the bottles with their?
No, I talked to that guy, 'cause like I said, he was down the other day doing the annual filters and all that, keeping it. And if he can turn it up, I think, we're just a few £100 short of being 4,500. If he can turn it up a little bit, we'll be fine.
I'd rather spend $10,000 more if it meant it was the safe alternative.
Oh, it's gonna be just as safe as
Okay.
the other guy doesn't.
The other
What I
guy's
would
a
say,
salesman.
Phil Fire doesn't really have these, bottle refill station and stuff. He goes somewhere and gets it. That's what I kinda thought when he was talking, he goes somewhere. So we might as well just buy it directly from the person that's taking care of it.
Okay. I just wanna make sure we get the safe
Yeah,
one.
oh yeah, no, it's
We don't need a bottle flying on.
I don't know if it showed you pictures that it showed on the, no. But it's just a steel case with gauges and stuff like that. But that's about all I got.
Any questions? Any other fire department? Moving on to emergency management. Nothing? Protective inspection? No. Moving on to federal government and finance, economic development, chamber of commerce report, I don't see in the packet. Nothing. Park board? There's an agenda for the meeting in the packet. Any questions or comments? Moving on to library board. Agenda and the meeting minutes. Any questions, comments? Cemetery advisory committee. Just meeting minutes. Financial statements, anything you want to point out, Heather?
No, not this one. There's only just the treasurer's and the clerk's report.
According to the agenda, only the April financials are in there. The March should have been included. So, next month, you'll have March in there, and that'll be why.
All right, moving on. Other general government, I'd like to point out, we have new chairs. I love
Pretty
those.
good. Yes, they were budgeted and surprised.
I actually don't bounce up and down on that hydraulic like I used to on the old chair.
mine just deflated.
We may
You're
need
just
to,
deflated.
we may need to look into tablets. Donnie and I are having some issues.
Okay.
Might be the user, but
I say to Donnie, you not turn it on.
Any as may arise.
Move that we adjourn.
make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second, all those in favor say aye. All those opposed? We stand adjourned.
All right.
Mayor, you need a break?
I'm good, I don't need to take any notes at this time. Does everybody get to keep moving with the team's money break? Good.
Good.
I'll see you in the morning.
Okay.
Keep rolling along.
We'll get that treadmill.
Okay,
Don't lose any sleep over that.
I won't, but I appreciate it, I really thank you.
Oh,
But you better have some strong muscles, because it's heavy. I have to bring this guy.
Bye, Denny.
Bye,
Bye, guys.
Every Thursday afternoon.
See ya.
sometime Thursday
I
afternoon.
go on Taurus to get to my house,
She can do it edited.
okay?
What's the address again?
802
South Jefferson,
Right on the corner of Tar.
right on the corner.
It's the old Dawson house.
Yeah.
I know where it's at.
Right on Taurus.
Just go in the back door instead of the front.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Thank you. How are you doing?
All right. It's 7:26, and I'm gonna call to order the regular Board of Alderman meeting, May 17, 2021 at 7:26. If I can get a roll call, please.
Alderman Stevens,
Here.
Alderman Hudson,
Here.
Alderman Motley, Alderman Wilkins,
Present.
Alderman Rogers,
President.
Alderman Magley.
Yep.
At this time, I would like to make a request for motion to add in under action agenda, purchasing the fire equipment we talked about in the previous meeting. Of those two items, I'd like to add that in under, say, 11B is what it would be.
I move that we add the, in round numbers, $113,000 purchase of the tanks and the $10,000 of the, I forgot the name of that company, but the
Midwest Breeding.
Midwest, yes.
Second.
The first and second, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? It's $123,576.68 combined. Just so you know, we'll talk about that later. So
123 what?
123,576.68. Thank you for that. That moves us now into special presentations.
May I ask a quick question?
Yes, absolutely.
Your Honor, does that 123,576 and change, does that include the thermal imaging face masks they were mentioning?
6 of them. Yes, it
Thank you,
does.
sir.
Yep. And the correct filling station and all that kind of stuff that you talked about earlier is all in there. Yep. That moves us to special presentations. Is that, she's not here.
Do I have this on the wrong agenda, Tara?
Possibly. I think she said that she had to be in Hallsville tonight, and
Okay.
it was next month that she's
In
gonna be
June.
here.
I apologize.
No
Should be
problem.
in June.
So we'll move past that. That'll be added at a later date, to be determined. 4 is a public hearing. We don't have one of those. That moves us to a consent agenda. I'll accept A and B reports together as one motion, unless somebody wants to separate out A with the minutes of prior board meeting and B the reports we have. As item 5.
Move that we accept the consent agenda.
Second.
First and second to accept the consent agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Consent agenda is passed. That moves us to accounts payable over $1,250 equaling $214,637.35. Sure.
That's the one dated May 17th. There's others.
I think that, and
I can't get it pulled up.
Is that the right one?
I looked it up today, when I was doing the minutes, because I didn't have that, and it was 325,000 in there.
So I wonder if it got updated then, because it's not even, there's no printout in this packet at all.
There's several on the
There's
online
several,
packet.
yeah.
There's 2020.
September 21st, 2020, August 17th, 2020,
I don't
June
know what happened.
15th.
July 20th, 2020.
Well,
So the ones dated 5/17 was the $214,637.35.
35 cents.
You want me to go look at it, the actual document real quickly, and I can print you copies?
Please do.
I'm pulling it up.
What was the number you said you thought, 360 some thousand?
$325,931.92.
Because we got this June 15th in here, I didn't know what that was. 2020.
Phyllis added one today, and that's why we've got that number. She's added an extra.
So if we would print that out together like that, we can hand it out, we can use it as an agenda, correct?
Yeah.
I mean, it's the accounts payable. Can you print for later? Print,
Heather might be trying to print it right now.
I'll find out. Hold on a second. Hey, Heather? She had Sure.
What is the?
It's printing off.
What's
We'll be right-
the SC 200 control ACDC ports?
That's for the, it reads out the chlorine, pH, and temperature, and sends it up to the SCADA system. It's another way for us not to have somebody on duty 24/7, and that gets us through DNR, so we don't have to have it.
That's one of our things we need.
Yeah, we,
And that nothing to do with it.
yeah.
It has nothing to do with the upgrade you're doing.
We had a 1,000. It's obsolete. It won't report up, so we have to go to 2,000 to have it, so.
Because we have all these different.
As bad as we were, right? Not as bad as we were. I mean, we were having those rags wouldn't dispose, I mean, they wouldn't break down.
I ran out of them.
Did you? I appreciate it.
When was it bad? When was it bad? A couple years ago? Or
Yeah, it was more a couple of years ago, we were having more issues. And there's a lot of that stuff they sell.
So-
Snake complaints against it.
Everybody should now have the corrected, accounts payable over $1,250. There was an added line which changed it from 214,637.35 in the amount of $111,294.57 to that, which added there was Nextera, wire transfer for electric, wholesale electric, making the total, grand total, $325,931.92.
Move that we accept the accounts payable over $1,250 for a grand total of $325,931.92.
Second?
A first and a second to approve said accounts payable over $1,250. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. That moves us to item 7, comments from the citizens. At this time, we'll take comments from the citizens.
Me again. I love this new layout, but we cannot find this shit on the internet. I'm sorry. We spent forever last night trying to pull up this stuff, and sometimes it would pull up, sometimes it wouldn't. We're having a hard time. And none of the financials, none of your report wasn't on the line last night, anything, and I'm not home all day on Monday, so I don't have a chance to even look at it to see if there's any questions, and there's no copies here to look at. And
One of my stuff was not on there.
your monthly report,
Yes, it was. It was on there on Friday.
I didn't find it.
I showed up on Thursday.
No, I didn't find it, but, I mean, we're having so much trouble pulling all of it up, that maybe that's what it is, I don't know, but I hope that you're gonna be able to fix the way all that pulls up and we can get to it to look at it.
Thank you.
It was troublesome today trying to find it, but I was able to find it.
Well, you can find it, but it doesn't always pull up when you do find it.
Agreed, and I think we found some concerns today.
But tonight, we have some.
Yeah, and that was the same issue why we started late, we were trying to.
I understand
same
that.
issues.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, thank you. That moves us, if there are no other comments from citizens, I will close comments from citizens, and we'll move into the action agenda. Number 8, that would be the finance. Anything for finance? Heather?
No.
Nothing for finance, and that moves us into number 9, legal. I'd entertain, a motion, for free, an ordinance regulating the use of public and private sewers and drains, private sewage disposal, installation, connection of building sewers, discharge of waters and waste into the public water systems, and providing penalties for violations thereof in the city of Centralia, county of Boone, state of Missouri.
I will say that this is a required ordinance
I was
for
saying,
the
we
SRF
were talking
funding.
about this.
Is this why we're doing it?
Yes, we did the same thing for a water use ordinance, before we were able to get the funding through SRF for the water treatment plant program, and this is on the sewer side.
Did we change something or add something or make it
No.
just basically just doing it again? Basically,
This is for sewer. I mean, the other one was for water, and this one's for sewer, so.
So it's all new ordinance for us, so we're in compliance with.
Yes, this is their draft ordinance, and I just put it in our format.
Move the bill number 2408 be given its first read by title only.
Second.
Have a first and a second for bill number 2408 to be given its first reading. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? First reading held, please. Pass.
An ordinance regulating the use of public and private sewers and drains, private sewage disposal, the installation and connection of building sewers, and the discharge of waters and waste into the public sewer system, and providing penalties for violations thereof in the city of Centralia, county of Boone, state of Missouri.
I move bill number 2408 be given its second read by title only.
Second.
Have a first and second for bill number 2408 to be given its second reading. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Passes. Please read it.
An ordinance regulating the use of public and private sewers and drains, private and sewage disposal, the installation and connection of building sewers, and the discharge of waters and waste into the public sewer system, and providing penalties for violations thereof in the city of Centralia, county of Boone, state of Missouri.
I move that bill number 2408 be adopted by roll call vote.
Second.
Have a first and second for 2408 to be adopted by roll call vote. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Roll call vote.
Alderman Hudson.
Yes.
Alderman Magley.
Yeah.
Alderman Stevens.
Yes.
Alderman Rogers.
4.
Alderman Wilkins.
4.
Okay, it passes. Bill number 2408 passes. Ordinance number is,
3094.
thank you. Thank you. That moves us to B.
Chris?
Yes.
I'd like to make a comment. We've had some citizens contact us when they go back and watch our videos on the camera, when conversations happen when we're talking, they can't hear us because that picks up the closest sound. So if we could limit conversations whenever the meeting is going on out there, that would be really great.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. That moves us to B. An ordinance authorizing and directing the mayor of the city of Centralia, Missouri to execute a contract with Schmidt Irrigation and Pump Service of Marshall, Missouri for Centralia wastewater treatment facility improvements, part 2. That'd be bill number 2409.
I move that bill number 2409 be given its first reading by title only.
Second?
First and second for bill number 2409 to be given its first reading. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? It passes, please. Heather?
An ordinance authorizing and directing the mayor of the city of Centralia, Missouri to execute a contract with Schmidt Irrigation and Pump Service of Marshall, Missouri for Centralia wastewater treatment facility improvements, part 2.
Move that bill number 2409 be given its second reading by title only.
Second?
First and second for bill number 2409 to be given its second reading. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
An ordinance authorizing and directing the mayor of the city of Centralia, Missouri to execute a contract with Schmidt Irrigation and Pump Service of Marshall, Missouri for Centralia wastewater treatment facility improvements, part 2.
Move that bill number 2409 be adopted by roll call vote.
Second?
I have a first and second for bill number 2409 to be adopted by roll call vote. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Roll call vote passes. Roll call vote, please. Kara.
Alderman Hudson.
4.
Alderman Magley.
Yeah.
Alderman Stevens.
Yes.
Alderman Rogers.
4.
Alderman Wilkins.
4.
Bill number 2409 passes, making it ordinance number 3095. That moves us to C, approving the change order Number one for Centralia wastewater system improvements, part two, in an amount of a negative $882,747, $800, I like that. $75. Well, I would love that, I'd be really excited, but that's a motion that I'm asking for there.
So moved.
Second?
And first and second, approving change order number one, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. We'll get back to almost $83,000. Thank you. Those are the kind of change orders we like, right? That moves us to 10, permits and licensing. I'll be looking for.
I want to ask a question on this one.
Yes.
Sure, go ahead.
It just goes
Is that
blank.
walking off streets? I thought that was delegated to the city administrator, to walk
Well,
off streets.
Yes, it is, but it's the public parking spaces, there would be several of them, and they would be allowing alcohol sales at the same time. So I roped it all into one. I don't have a problem with blocking off the parking spots, but, I sent this to Sydney just to have her double check, and she said it was good. But it was a little more than just blocking off streets.
Because of the sale of alcohol.
Yes,
I was just curious, because I thought we
You're
put
right.
that to bed.
You're right.
yes.
But because of that part of it, we needed to.
The agenda says this is an ordinance and the sheet says it's a resolution.
It is a resolution.
Yes, this is
Who determines the spaces?
right,
Just,
yeah. It does say
just
I
whatever?
was going to let the chamber decide where
Just
they wanted to
whatever,
place
yeah.
them, yeah.
The chamber does it?
Yeah.
It's not the,
I'll move that bill 2410 be given its first and only reading by title only.
Second.
I have a first and
Oh,
a
so I have
second
one here in a minute.
for 2140 to be read.
okay.
All in favor? All opposed? Go ahead, Evan.
A resolution issuing a permit to the Centralia Area Chamber of Commerce of Centralia, Missouri to block off public parking spaces during the annual Centralia Wine Walk on July 24th, 2021, and permitting the sale of wine from registered vendors on public property.
Move that bill number 2410 be adopted by roll call vote.
Second.
I have a first and second for bill number 2410 to be given its second reading.
No.
Oh, no, apologize, yeah, it's a resolution. For roll call vote, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Passes, Tara, roll call vote, please.
Alderman Hudson,
Four.
Alderman Magley,
Sure.
Alderman Rogers,
Four.
Alderman Wilkins,
Four.
Alderman Stevens.
Yes.
Okay, bill number 2410 passes.
I think that will not take the test.
That moves us to item, we got resolution number.
R-21-08.
Thank you. That moves us to item 11, approving the purchase of a service vehicle for the water department. I'm looking for a motion.
It's there.
Which one?
And the discussion to be had around that is it's $500 difference for the lockable.
Well, if it compares close to apples we can, it's about $1,500
$1,500,
difference.
and $1,500 on $45,000 equals what? 2%? 2.5 maybe.
It's 3% off 45,000, so it'd be a little less than that on the 46.
Right. So that's, I think, the thing to think about.
$1,500 roughly to buy local versus not. Excluding the remote locking, which, yeah, sounds like a nice thing, but this is a work truck.
Well, if the fob goes out, you'll have to pay $500 to get another one, so the lock is still the key, and you can lock it. I think that's my thought. We've been beat up a little bit at times, and
Didn't we set a price? Didn't we set a price, if, difference wise, one time?
We never did.
We talked, I know we talked about
We
it.
talked about, we never did. When do you buy local on a capital purchase, right?
Exactly, yes.
To me, if you stay 3% under, it depends on how much that capital purchase is. If it's a $1 million project, you might have to look at that, once you get 3.5%, 4%. But anything under 3%, I think tolerable for us, because $1,500 for in-town on purchase of $46,000 to me is not, I think it's an investment back in our own community. Now, it was-
Times have changed a little bit because we're not buying local now, we're buying out, you're buying from a different organization, money.
well, but you're buying from somebody.
Who you're
in
paying
town
your
that employs
employees that
People,
work
they
here.
shop here, they
Yeah.
eat here, they get gas here, some of them potentially
Yeah.
live here.
Pay taxes here.
I'm just saying, I mean, I'm not one to buckle, because there's, somebody on the other end doesn't like it, but I think we have to have some sort of guidelines and some sensibility about what we're doing. And
I'm trying to remember the purchasing policy that they reviewed. I don't think we put a set percent.
We did.
We talked, I know we talked about it.
We did, and I said we needed.
10% or, I don't think it was 5 to 10%, wasn't it?
You get over 5%, I mean, that's a big numbers. I mean, I've been in purchasing most of my
On
career.
capital it is, absolutely.
3% or more is kind of the point where I would tell suppliers if they'd come to me, if you're coming to me with a 2% or 3%, I don't necessarily want to talk to you. You come with 4 or 5, 6%, let's sit down and talk, because I'm gonna consider moving business. So I mean, just thinking of.
That's discussions I've had with people like you,
Yeah.
and we're coming to you, and we're supplying service or goods.
Yeah.
And that discussion, once it gets above that, it's not a reasonable cost increase for you potentially to swallow. So that's kind of where that 3% for me or less typically doesn't mandate major discussions with people like in your role within an organization, typically. That's my thought. Just, you know.
So where does that take us?
For $1,500 more, we would buy from Jim Butler.
My opinion is stay local.
Well, I'll entertain a motion of any kind at this point.
What's the difference in the bid, Mike?
It's
Brand.
only, yeah.
I mean, what,
Key fob
the
is
bed
what
that they got on the truck
For the
now,
K-fob, it's-
There's really no difference in the
prices.
trucks. The
$5.
beds, they're basically the same thing. They're set up the same. They both have lights inside, which is pretty critical when the guys are working at night trying to do
Sure.
something.
But they both have that.
They both have it.
this bed we have now does not have that, correct?
No. And it's been a pain. It really has.
So,
It's a nap pipe that we have on the truck right now. So and then we've actually, I think we bought 2 other nap pipes since I've been here.
my question is, when we buy trucks, why do we buy new beds? Why don't we just buy the cab and chassis and swap our beds out?
Because a lot of them won't let you do that anymore. You buy the truck complete, you can't buy them. Now,
You
Brad
can't buy the
did-
cab and chassis and swap the beds? Put the
Usually, a
bed,
lot of times the beds won't fit the new trucks because of the body change and stuff. So, I had one dealer that we talked to initially, and he said you have to buy the truck and bed, and you just retain the bed, use however, and you can take it off and put it on when you wanna sell it. That never happened. So,
Are we looking to sell this truck?
yes.
So
It
that
sound-
may make up our difference that
Well,
we're.
well, it sounds like potentially, I understand you, I think it's a good question you raise, because why do we not take it off, but on the other game, don't do that, take the bed off, right?
Yeah.
You know, people buy trucks like that and put on a Maxwell
yeah.
trailer bed on, whatever. It sounds like though this one needed to be upgraded, this nap pipe that we have isn't really what we need today with the lighting and the stuff built in it. And versus trying to jerry-rig something onto that other, would probably better maybe go with that, would be my thought, but.
And I'm not saying there's something wrong with the bed on this
Oh, no, I
truck,
get it.
and this truck will bring some money. It's in good condition, it's pulled a lot of things, it's a little small for what we actually needed in that department, so that's why we've upsized a little bit there. But I think we're getting a good bed either way we go. I've talked to people that have the Reading beds that come from Riker bed, and nobody has a problem with them. I see a lot of them on vacation this week. I've kind of looked at them as I go by, and there's a lot of them on the road too, so.
Well, if we did the Rikers, if we went with Don Brown.
Yes. And that bike goes with Butler, so. There's not that much difference. You're good either way.
Same gauge, quality.
Yep.
And they have individual locks on each door, or they got the bar that slides through and you lock it at the end
The
of the door?
top ones have the slide bar, I believe is how it's set up, at least the one we have now, so,
So we might have to manually lock 5 things at the end of the day
yeah.
versus the 5.
Yeah, and Matt said he'd live with that, it's just, right now, he's kind of stressed with it, because that's what they've been doing for 3 months, and,
Or these youthful people like things that you do with the control button.
yeah.
Matt did say between the beds, that it was, the only difference really was brand.
Right, he didn't have
He
any
said that
preference,
almost
he said.
word for word, I think.
He didn't seem to be concerned about that part of it. So,
I'll make a motion we buy from Jim Butler.
have a first and second, motion to buy a truck from Jim Butler. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? We approve the purchase of the truck line from Jim Butler. That moves us to B, that we added about in the previous meeting. We discussed the fire equipment that's been needed terribly to be upgraded for a long time. It boils down to two quotes that he said to us he thought would meet their needs and bring them up to safe operations of bottle filling as well as the cascade system being able to handle, along with six vision masks that would have infrared on site. So that's Feld Fire quote, that was $113,390.30. Along with that went Midwest Breathing. That pack of product, that's basically the fill station, it looks like to me. That's $10,186.38. So I'm looking for a motion to be able to purchase from Feld Fire and Midwest Breathing the needed upgrades for the police, packs and systems, at a total of $123,566.68.
So moved.
Second.
The first and second, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? It passes, so we can, if you let them know, or whoever, that we're gonna move forward and get that rolling, so we can get those ordered. Would be great. That, thank you for that, folks. That moves us to, is there any old business? Any new business? That moves us to 12, the mayor. The mayor has nothing to say. Moves to 13, the city administrator.
My authority report is in the packet.
Yes.
Okay.
Anything else, any questions for the city administrator? That moves us to 14, city attorney. She's not here, did she
She's
have?
recovering.
Right, she can't drive, right, and that's the situation.
Right.
She can't drive for a while, that's why she's not here, we talked about that earlier, in one of our meetings ago, when it happened. 15, our city clerk. Nothing? Okay. That brings to 16 as may arise.
I've got, did you find anything up on them dumpsters I talked to you about?
No, not yet. I'm still waiting on a response from Baines. They'll contact me again. I'm not getting good information back. They're not responding very quickly to me.
And then what can we do about all this, I've had some complaints about the stuff on the city sidewalks downtown.
We just,
The couch, all that stuff in front of that building,
I'm glad you brought
the
that
other
up.
junk store across the street.
Today I was talking to Sandy, and there's a couch specifically and stuff. I don't have a problem.
In front of the
with-
flea market?
In front of the flea market, gets wet, and right now it says you can't obstruct the sidewalk. But I think we need to look at maybe other city ordinances somewhere where they have something about businesses and what they can display during the day and business hours.
We do have something about a sidewalk sale. They can have a sidewalk sale and there's specifications about it, but I don't think that it's meant that it can permanently be there.
Well, okay, so because the couch stays out there permanently, and I think.
All that stuff in front of those flea markets stay out there
Right.
all night, all day,
And it looks
365.
tacky. If we're gonna clean
They
it.
actually used to store stuff outside.
Who?
The
Well,
hardware store, they used
yeah.
to store stuff outside.
They did.
But that was under their canopy.
I was gonna say it was under the canopy.
That was under their canopy.
Was it?
This is right out on the sidewalk.
Right. I think it's great that they would put stuff out to show that they're open for business and see, look what I got, or a couple of eye-catching things. But then he would take it in at night, you know.
I mean,
Then
it's
you don't
rained.
have- then it's not missing.
2 days,
Two
they're not gonna
things.
sell
Then it's
that
not
couch.
missing the next day, they're calling the police department saying, hey, I need to investigate this.
Put a treadmill up there next week.
You know.
Thursday, the treadmill.
I left honest to God, 2 years ago, I left my weed eater out by the pole in front of my house out there. And I forgot it, and I said, well, I better go there again, it's 11 o'clock. Well, you know how you lay stuff out by the road? Well, the person probably think he'd taken it from me, thought I'd thrown it out because it wouldn't run. Well, hell, it was full of gas and ready to go, had string on and everything, so it took my weed.
I still use it today.
Something good. It was a good one, but I'm just saying, we need to have
Yeah, exactly.
So what do we need to do on it? Just look at it and see what it says? and see-
Yeah, I'll look at it and see read what it says.
Let Sandy know, let us know, and if we need to do something, we'll do something.
Well, let's ask Sandy too, maybe when you look at it, do we need to change the wording of it a little bit so it's
To
not
where
graded
everything has
for
to
her?
go indoor at close of business.
Yeah, or something, make it to where
Yeah, I mean,
it's,
like Celestia, she leaves like racks out there now on her, in front of her building, there's nothing on them, but she leaves the racks.
well, they ought to go in. I
Yeah,
think it just looks
I
tacky
agree.
tonight, and it just, it's a liability too. If somebody riding their bike through there, some kid or
Hold
what
on,
have you.
hold on.
some kids-
There's no bike riding on sidewalks downtown.
Well, I understand, but I understand we may have.
There is an ordinance
But
against that
there may be,
one.
but
I
if
know
a kid-
that one for a
But
fact.
if kids own one, you get you a lawyer and you see what happens.
Right.
I know what you're saying. I know what
If
you're
handlebar
saying.
catches a clothes rack and the kid goes down.
I'm just saying, we don't wanna, we want to look well, but so I think, when I talked to Sandy today, she was kinda talking a little bit about, it, says, yeah, there's stuff there, but I think there's some things maybe we could do to amend it a little bit, to make it where it's black and white, well, black and white for everybody.
Make it a little
We have a lot
neater.
of-
Okay, so we'll let you check on that,
All right.
okay, we'll look at it again, okay? Thank you.
I have a-
Gotta
What
remember
else?
vendors store stuff outside sometimes, so.
That's not a
Or
sidewalk.
some will, I mean, they leave, but it's,
That's a private parking lot.
Yeah, that's not a sidewalk.
I'm just trying to think of all the
That's true.
scenarios.
we thought about that, she and I were talking about that actually this morning when I watched it, and we were there for about 15 minutes talking about that one, and the alleys were discussed as well. It's hard for us to tell people if they need to clean up their yard when our alleys have 1.5 tall, 2-foot weeds in them. And to be honest with you, me and Mike talked about that, didn't we, Mike? And I told him I didn't care what they sprayed on it, if they killed it for 10 years, it'd be great with me, whatever, I just didn't want them out there, so, I don't think you can get that stuff anymore.
Has she been sending out yard weed ordinances?
We have
yeah.
hearings for tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them.
Shoot, I think it was probably,
She takes a part of town every day. Okay, these people mowed, these people didn't.
Did we give them any lenience with, I mean, it was hard with the way the rain was coming.
No, there's a grace period.
I think we're very fair when it comes to that stuff.
so the first notice she sends says that you need to mow it. And if you don't, you need to come to this hearing, with just Sandy and I, and tell us why you haven't mowed it. And then from that point on, we say, okay, you have 7 days. And then, so really, they have quite a bit of time to do it.
Okay,
The
yeah.
ones.
The ones I've noticed have mowed, at least right around my house, pay attention to, because there's a
One over
couple.
on Reed Street that's 2 foot tall.
I guarantee she's already getting away too.
Yeah.
And some, you have to understand, some of these people are owners outside of the city limits, and it's hard to,
If it's around.
we still have property owners in California.
Oh, I get it.
Stay up,
Yeah.
I talked to one out of Texas today.
yeah.
Okay, a couple things I'm working on, RFPs for banking and trash service, so, going through some more recent ones than the ones that we've sent out last to update those. So we'll have that information coming up in the next couple months. The use tax, something that we could look at, some of the other cities that have been talking about how they passed the use tax after they had a couple failed attempts, was to look at a different approach to how we would use the tax. So let's just say we would take the use tax and we could decide that we were going to use it on a project, for a certain number of years, maybe just the first 2 years or 3 years or 5 years or something like that. Use it to replace sidewalks. So that if we get this money, we will use 75% of it to replace sidewalks. Or we could use it for capital purchase for a new fire truck or something like that. So those are things to be thinking about. If you brainstorm it, just send me a message and we can get together with like all these ideas and see what we would like to focus on the most for the
Those
community.
cities did that.
Mhm.
That
You
seems.
can earmark it
Yeah.
for so
Good
long
idea.
for
Yeah.
that. And we've gotta get,
That's a
we
good
gotta
idea.
get a good sidewalk down Blue Street and some places, I mean, we really do, for kids to go to the park and to the pool and.
Just there are sidewalks all over.
Yeah, in general, I
Lakeview,
should-
we could widen the sidewalk on Lakeview all the way down and, so, anyway, just those kind of things.
That's a good idea, because I mean, it's money that we don't have now.
Right.
So if we earmark whatever the increase is, over several buckets, even if we did for 5 years or something.
Well, then they feel like the money being collected,
Benefit.
there's something, there's a reason it's being
And
collected,
they'll
it's
see
being
it-
used, they
see
can
a
see
direct
what it's being
benefit.
done, being done with it.
Fire
Right.
truck.
So we'll,
More streets in a
Yeah,
shorter period of time.
yeah, right, absolutely. The infrastructure things are lacking today. Sidewalks, we have so many people walking, but people literally get out on the road
Yep.
in some areas because it's smoother to, and then get back up on, so.
are we going after November? Is that what you're?
I don't know. I don't know if you all wanna look at November. It's whatever the board wants to do. I don't know that we have enough on the ballot in November to do it, or if we just wanna wait until next
Maybe April when.
Well, it was, look, I'm gonna tell you, I think it was close enough. To me, there was enough awareness that was given to it. I talked in every house that I went to, and it was pretty damn close.
Well,
And it's because people were being educated on what it was, and it wasn't an additional tax. And then if we couple that, I think that if all of us make a concerted effort to get out and educate the people, we were told that by Macon. It took 3 times because the fact was we had to get the people finally to understand, and it took direct discussions with people one-on-one. And then those people shared at coffee or whatever at the senior center or wherever. And I had a lot of people said, well, as soon as I explained, oh, I'll vote for it then. Then they asked about the 3-year term. And I explained to them how the council's set up and that you could get an alliance potentially. He or she, the president, yeah, the mayor could potentially have an alignment with one side and they could do whatever they wanted to do for 2 years, basically, because the tie-breaking vote's always the mayor. To me, I don't think if we've done our due diligence, I as the mayor should ever have to hardly ever break a tie. We should have the information, we know what we're trying to decide and be able to make a decision amongst the people representing the people of the wards, where I would not, that we would be having more consensus than I need to break a vote, so. But that was a discussion on that, but it went a long way of people understanding, I think, why it was for. It wasn't that Chris Cox wanted 3 years. Because I got named to go with the, like people on that. One lady said she voted for me, but she wouldn't give me that deal, so that's fine. So, anyway.
The one last thing I have is the American Recovery Act funds. Still looking for the exact guidance, but at our next meeting, I would like to go over what I find with you. I will try to get it out as soon as I can, get a summary put together as to what we can use the funds for, and then we need to come up with a plan for how we're going to use them. Because it should be something like $350,000 this first round. And then next one.
Yeah, that Quint would be a good solution.
Well, but it's specifically earmarked for certain things, and we might be able to use it towards public safety, but they're looking at the big things for water, wastewater, and broadband services.
Sure. Mhm.
But there is a provision in there that talks about the possibility that we could maybe use it for stormwater. And if we could use some of that money to help improve stormwater on the south side of town, that would be amazing. But I don't know for sure if that's, so I want to do some more research on it to make sure that we have all the facts.
Is that the block grant we were talking to,
No.
that's
this is-
different, right?
yeah,
Because
this
when we
is
talked
the
about Lincoln
300.
was the storm
Right.
management, that's a different deal.
That's different.
Because I think that's gonna really help us get Jefferson down through there.
Yeah, This would
If we
be
can go
more-
directionally,
this.
either way, yeah, right.
So, that's all I have.
I think at our last meeting, Elaine brought up about campers. Anything on that?
Well, we've done some looking and really it's nothing in our ordinance. So I'm going to send out a message to the listserv to see if there are any other cities that are dealing with this and what they've actually specifically adopted, because our codes, unless it's in the residential code, residential building code maybe, there's really nothing in there.
There's some people that I wonder how they're living like that, and then there's others that you can see they're living in
Right.
Right.
campers.
And it's creating an issue, because with those situations, typically there's problems a lot of times. I mean, some good comes out of those problems sometimes, but, that's an inside joke. Between me and this weekend, and I looked at the so that is a problem, but there is really nothing that in talking to Sandy this morning about that, she said, all I can do is kind of, browbeat them and try to put the pressure on them to get them to do something about it, but she really doesn't have anything concrete that she can black and white say, you're in violation, here you go. So I think we'll look at
I
it.
mean, when my mother-in-law comes, she brings her big old RV,
Well, no, but there's a difference, I think.
Okay.
No, there's a lot of people I think that do that. They come in for graduation or during the
Okay.
summer while they're traveling.
Yeah, if somebody showed up and they're there for 2 weeks because they're visiting and then they're gone,
Well,
that's not what I think anybody wants. This is
Talk-
concerned about.
But talking about trailers like that, can you pull one up on the right of way basically and park it and put the wheel covers over it and tarp it? And because down by the Christian church here.
I thought there was a
it's
trailer
huge.
deal.
I'm talking about a camper.
You can't have an unhooked trailer on city right of ways. It's gotta be hooked to a vehicle.
See, I thought I heard something about that shortly after I first started on this, because I remember one of our neighbors had one, and it was like they weren't supposed to store it, like on the edge of their driveway.
Well, there's one right, drive by, Bob.
It's huge.
And
It's
you
right
can't-
across from Art Dollars.
It's right across from Mark Doll's house the other way.
You can't miss it.
It's
Bob-
huge.
It's Bob Younger, didn't say that loud.
Oh, okay, I know I know what you're talking
And
about.
it's right
It's a
there.
really pretty one.
Yeah, it's right there, it's a really nice one, but it's right there, right on the street right away.
Sandy,
I mean,
Sandy
you know-
and I looked about that,
Sandy's
and
around
we
here.
never did find anything on that.
Is it 72 hours?
I don't think we ever
Well, we
found
need
that.
to address that as well, because that lends to problems we're having where these trailers being parked alongside the road.
Yeah, there's a lot of trailers parked
There's a lot
alongside.
of those as well, and that creates,
I mean, people aren't supposed to park cars in their grass, and should they be allowed to park a trailer in their grass?
not in the front, I mean, I wouldn't be in favor of
Let's
that
go
in
back and
front.
read that ordinance, I don't know what it says.
Sometimes we'll try.
That ordinance was passed.
I don't think we transfer the problem from out of the street into the front yard, it'd have to be in the backyard somewhere or another or whatever, but we need to look at it, I think, whatever that looks like.
Okay.
I will have to give, the one house that we've given a lot of violations to has done a lot of cleanup. I'm actually was very impressed with that so
Yeah.
far, so.
And it sounds like the trailer court, me and Chris had a meeting with the manager at the trailer court. Sounds like that's gonna be coming along pretty good, the way she talked.
And Mike said that they had people out there, well, Mike said somebody, or Matt was saying that they had people out there to cut the trees, had about 18 or 20 trees that they were gonna clean up, and that, she's got somebody to mow the grass, which is a local boy that we know, that his dad's a contractor here in town, so sounds like she's actually really got a hold of people to start doing this stuff, so. I think the sewer side of it is what we gotta stay on top of, Mike, with that. We talked about.
Did you go out and walk around with her?
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, but she
We've done
wasn't
that.
quite truthful with you guys either.
Oh, yeah?
I talked to Matt Rush.
Have you done that before?
Well, I talked to Matt too, and he said about the sewers, but she was talking about the one sewer that they'd had and, the snake. She told us about
Yeah,
the
she
snake
told us
again,
about
and
the
that had
sewer
to be
snake.
fixed, and that wasn't right. And then they had to get a plumber to come fix that, and it didn't get fixed. But they found that when they were out there, but the capping, I don't think she understands.
Okay.
Exactly, I think that has to be, but she said that they were going to camera
All the lines.
all
to
of the
main.
lot lines
Good.
to our main, to where if there are any problems, they want that fixed before somebody moves in, because they have a goal of putting in new trailers out there, but you see, I can't sell, we can't draw people in to wanna buy a trailer and live in Centralia out there with the current state that it's in. It needs to be brought up to a code where you wanna live in an environment you wanna be in. So, and she also said that, she would give us some information of some things that she would like for us to look into at the trailer park.
Now, are you talking about the trailer park out by the golf course?
The old Tidball, yep.
Is it under new ownership?
I don't know how long he's owned it for several
Same
years.
ownership, different manager.
Different manager, and she's actually managing 7 of them, doesn't live there, in this facility that's been up. So we'll see. I'm hopeful, let's put it that way. We're hopeful for our
Yeah.
discussion. We're gonna stay on her, and if it doesn't happen, we're gonna do something with that, just like we're gonna do with these other properties and having our administrative hearings. We're sending those letters out, we sent a bunch of those out. Again, Heather, correct, and people have been notified that, hey, you're gonna have to do something with it. If you don't, we're gonna take action against it. So we're gonna stay at that. So thank you for your diligence in that. And, all I'm gonna say is, thank God that graduation's over for everybody, because it was a lot of stress for a lot of people, I think. Not just, man, I had to go to several parties and make me stressful. I didn't have to set the parties up. So anyway,
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
It passes. All opposed? It passes.
So Zayden's sister